Okay. Hi, everybody. Live again. Thank you so much for watching. Today, we're going to speak about emotional intelligence and leadership. So whether you are watching live or not watching live, I want to encourage you guys to feel free to ask some questions. Okay. If there are any questions that you guys want to ask, any comments that you guys want to make, you are more than welcome to do that. So from our side, we're going to do a little bit more live videos like this. So we will let you guys know on our various platforms when I'm going on, when I'm going to speak, what I'm going to speak about. So feel free to check that out, and feel free to come with your questions, with your comments. We started doing this so that we can actually answer your questions and interact with you guys a bit. So check out for that. So today we're going to speak about emotional intelligence and leadership. And I just want to say I have these two booklets with me today. These are booklets that I actually teach in businesses and in companies. So this is the one. You guys can see it well, the influence of mindset in the workplace. This has a lot to do with thinking and imagination, and any person that wants to go forward in life and achieve their best and do their best. That's about that. It's a 4-lesson course. So if you guys want to know more, please email me. In our description, you will find our email address and our website address. So email address is for those of you guys who want to speak to me personally and know some things about us and what we do, how we do it. I do sessions like I said, I do it in businesses and companies. I do it in groups, families, individuals. But if you guys want to find out more about that, please feel free to send an email. I'll give you guys more information. And then we have this booklet. If you guys can see it well. Emotional intelligence in the workplace. I know it's not great with the color now. Emotional intelligence in the workplace, and this is one that I will speak out of today. So obviously not everything, because it takes about 4 to 5 hours to go through that whole booklet. But I'm going to give you guys something on emotional intelligence and leadership today that I hope will help you, will benefit you. Yeah. So also visit our website. Our two booklets is available, or sessions on our booklets is available on our website. So if you want to go check out our website for the two booklets with the sessions and everything, you guys are welcome to do that. Good morning, Vanessa. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining in. Okay, so we're going to start the session on emotional intelligence and leadership. So the first question I want to pose is, what is leadership? What is leadership? Can anybody be a leader? Can anybody pursue leadership, if I could say it like that? And the answer to that is yes. Everybody can be a leader, and everybody can pursue leadership. And the reason I'm saying that is, a lot of times people say, I'm not a leader, or I cannot pursue leadership, because they understand leadership wrong, in the sense of what does leadership actually mean? What is a leader actually at the end of the day? So let me just tell you what people think sometimes a leader is, which it's not. And then when we move past that, I can tell you what a leader is. So a leader is not a title. So when people think title, I have to have a title, I have to have a certain degree, I have to have a certain position in a company, that makes me a leader. No. Okay, so that's the first myth. Now, it's good to have a title. I want to encourage you guys, if you want to read on leadership, there's a book, The 5 Levels of Leadership, by John Maxwell. Now, he said the first level of leadership starts with position. That's your title. And according to him in this book, that's the lowest level of leadership, is when you just have a title, if you just have a paper to prove you're a leader. And I'm not against that. I mean, if you have a paper, that means you're educated, or you educated yourself, which is very, very good. If you have a title, it means somebody has seen leadership potential in you, and they've given you an opportunity. That's also very, very good. But ultimately, that's not the goal. Okay. So the second thing he said is permission. Permission is where people actually say, you are a leader that I would like to follow. And that is a step further where people actually give you permission to lead them. And then the third step we spoke about is a productivity or production, where you actually start to produce because you're a leader. Level 4 is people development. That is where you start to develop other people into leadership. And level 5 is pinnacle. Pinnacle is where the people that you have developed into leaders start to develop other people into leaders. So that's not what we're going to speak about, but that's the 5 levels of leadership that John Maxwell spoke about. So the first one that I want to say that's not a leader, or that's not the focus of leadership, is title and position. Okay. So the second thing, the amount of followers. People think, it's the amount of followers that makes me a leader. Okay, which is also not true. Now, obviously, when you are a leader, you want followers. You should have followers. Otherwise, you're just taking a walk. But the greatness of your leadership is not determined by how many followers you have. The greatness of your leadership is determined by the impact you have on the followers that you have. And obviously, I think if you have an impact on people, your leadership will grow. But now this is leadership. Leadership is influence. How you influence other people, that is leadership. And if people get to you to look at you in a way that's like, you have influence in my life, I want to listen to what you have to say. And sometimes that can even be bad influence. But if you are subject to bad influence, that person is still leading you in some kind of way. And I want to encourage you, if you come up, please say hello and please feel free to ask some questions. So that is leadership. Leadership, quickly summed up, is influence, how we influence other people. You don't need a title for that. You don't need a degree for that. You don't need a position for that. You just have to have a heart of influence for that. Okay, so today we're going to speak about emotional intelligence and leadership. So what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is good morning, Felicity. It's good to see you. You're in Cape Town, as far as I know. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. Hello, Ansa. It's good to see you. So what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is basically a combination between interpersonal intelligence and intrapersonal intelligence. Well, let's start with intrapersonal intelligence. That's the ability to lead yourself, to understand yourself, understand your own emotions, and to lead yourself. Interpersonal intelligence is the ability to lead other people and to understand other people's emotions. Now, why is emotional intelligence so important when it comes to leadership? Because how can you lead other people if you cannot lead yourself? Understand yourself, understand your own emotions, do some introspection. And how can you lead other people if you don't have interpersonal intelligence, meaning when you cannot relate to other people, when you don't understand them, when you don't understand their personality, and if you don't understand their emotions? So that's where emotional intelligence and leadership comes in. Now, if you pursue or want to be a leader, you actually want to get to the place where people would work for you voluntarily. I want us to say if they could, but even if you didn't pay them, they would love to work for you. Craig Rochelle says it like this. He says, become a leader that people love to follow. People shouldn't follow you just because you give them a paycheck. If you're really a good leader, people should follow you because you are a leader that people love to follow. Now, we're going to start with intrapersonal intelligence. Now, remember what I said. Emotional intelligence is a combination between interpersonal intelligence and intrapersonal intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence is the ability to understand your own emotions and the ability to lead yourself. So we're going to start with intrapersonal intelligence. I'm going to give you guys 5 areas of interpersonal intelligence and leadership. And I also want to encourage you, like, subscribe, comment. We want to go on this channel. We want to go, our short-term goal now is to go to 500 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. And I want to encourage you, share this video to people. You can even share it right now and they can join us live. But I want to encourage you, if you believe people are going to benefit from this, share it with them. So Chad Veach, in his book, I think I actually have the book here. Yeah, here it is. I love this book. I want to encourage you, if you want to know more about leadership, read this book, Help I Work with People. And you will see this description here says, Getting Good at Influence, Leadership, and People Skills. Help I Work with People by Chad Veach. And I'm giving you guys a quote out of that book now. He says, leadership always starts with you. Influence does not start with the number of people you lead, the size of your salary, the political environment, your title, or any other person or circumstance. Your influence begins and ends with you. Your influence begins and ends with who you are and how you lead. And this is where we can say again, being precedes doing. Being perceives achievement. Who you are is more important than what you achieve. Now, I'm not saying what you achieve is not important. I'm not saying don't be an achiever. I believe you should be. But who you are is more important. How you manage your emotions, how you manage your anger, how you manage other people, how you treat other people. These things are much more important. And these are things that causes you to become a leader that others love to follow. And if you like that statement, becoming a leader that others love to follow, I got it from Craig Rochelle, and he actually has a YouTube video out, becoming a leader that people love to follow. So if you want to know more about leadership, you can check that out. And you can also check out Chad Veach's Leadership Lean In. Why am I giving you guys this? Because I believe everybody that's watching is watching because they want to develop their leadership skills. And those are just other things that I want to give you that will help you. Okay, so 5 areas of intrapersonal intelligence in leadership. Number 1, self-awareness. Self-awareness is a very, very big core key of emotional intelligence. And if you can lead yourself, you can lead others. Self-awareness is where you get to that place where you understand what you feel, you understand why you feel it, you understand how to deal with it. And I want to add this: you don't just take it out on other people. People who don't have self-awareness, they have an emotional reaction, and they put it on other people instead of looking within and say, but why am I going through this? Why do I emotionally feel like this? And emotional intelligence, I think a very important part of emotional intelligence is not denying your emotions. It's not pushing your emotions away. It's not thinking like they're not there, but handling them and managing them in the right way, and handling them and managing them in the right way. A very important thing is not to just put it on other people, blaming them, taking it out on them. Self-awareness, very important thing. That's the first area of intrapersonal intelligence that's very important. So, and there's been many studies done that said leaders with self-awareness are some of the best leaders in the world that you get. The second one, work through your weakness and don't let it stop you. I believe many people think it's weak as a leader to admit there's a weakness. Now, I'm not saying admit your weakness to everybody. I'm not saying call all your staff together and say, this is my weakness. I'm not saying go post on social media, this is my weakness. But acknowledge your weakness to yourself, or weaknesses to yourself. Acknowledge it to your own leader or counselor, because I do believe every single person that's in leadership should be under leadership, because there are things in you that you don't know how to deal with by yourself. And if you don't allow yourself to be led by another person, you cannot lead other people. But when you go like either to a counselor or to one of your leaders, admit your weakness, because if you don't admit your weakness, it's either going to slow you down or it's eventually going to stop you. We've seen many people who couldn't control their weaknesses. Their weaknesses caused anger, outbursts of wrath, bad emotions, and because they couldn't control it, their leadership eventually ceased. And this is an ongoing process to work within, work through your weaknesses, have your own counselors, and have your own leaders. Now, when I said speak about your weakness, and I said this earlier, don't call all of your people together and speak to them about your weakness, because you are the leader. You need leadership above you, but get a counselor, get a leader that you can speak to, and that can help you, so that you can be the best leader and so that you can treat people the best way. This is also going to help you in your interpersonal intelligence and in your dealings with other people. The third one I want to give you is self-control. Self-control, I believe, is a thing that causes you to become a leader that others love to follow, because circumstances change. Circumstances plays a big role in your life. And there's a quote by Aristotle that I kind of use a lot, but I think in every single setting that we do, it's very important. He said, anyone can be angry, that is easy. But to be angry at the right person, at the right time, for the right reason, to the right extent, that is not easy. So a leader without self-control, again, they will take out their anger, they will take out their wrath, they will even use their joys and their pleasures as a way to either treat their staff or the people that they are leading not well, or to manipulate them. But if you have self-control, you are saying, I'm feeling this emotion, I'm feeling the anger, I'm feeling the stress, I'm feeling the worry, but I know how to control this. And because I know how to control this, I am not going to take it out on other people. I hope you guys are learning something so far. And yeah, like I said, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. Number 4, when it comes to intrapersonal intelligence, invest in personal development. So let's say, for instance, you are a doctor, or you go to a doctor, or let's just use a doctor as an example. Which doctor would you rather be or go to? Somebody that did their degree and now that just sees their patients, or somebody that continuously educate themselves and read up on new viruses, diseases, treatments, diagnosis, medication? You would rather, or hopefully, you would rather go to the one that continuously grow themselves, that continuously educates themselves, and not just say, listen, I have a degree, and now that I have a degree, I don't have to learn anything further. No, you have to invest in personal development. You invest in personal development by reading books. Reading books are not just storybooks, but reading books in topics that you want to grow in. You listen to podcasts. You listen to professional speaking about a topic. You attend seminars. You do whatever you need to do in your area to keep growing yourself and to keep educating yourself. So personal development is a very, very important thing when it comes to intrapersonal intelligence and to become a great leader. And then the next thing, the fifth and final area when it comes to intrapersonal intelligence, is understand your authenticity. You know, leadership that I struggle to follow, like this is from my side, is if I can see you trying to become like somebody else, because I can go follow that person. Then, you know, I can go submit or learn from that person if you're just trying to become like that person. And even if I have both of you in my lives, even if I have two people that lead me and guide me and advise me, you know, it's important that the two of you are authentic. So learn from other people. You know, there are so many people that I learn from in leadership. I think Craig Rochelle is one of the main people. Chad Veach is one of the main people, the people that I spoke about. John Maxwell is one of the main people that I learn from, because they write about leadership, they teach about leadership. I have many leaders in my life here in the city that I live, but I don't want to become like any of them. I want to learn from them, but I want to take what they say. I want to take what I've learned from them, and I still want to be my authentic self. And Craig Rochelle said this. He said, people would rather follow a leader that's always real than a leader that's always right. So we want to be right all the time, and but we don't want to be real all the time. And I'm not saying don't be right. To be right is a very important thing, I believe, but be real. And I think when you are real, when you really have authenticity, that's when people are going to relate to you more. Now, because of your authenticity, some people won't relate to you, and that's okay. But don't change who you are just so that other people will relate to you. Albert Einstein said, everyone is a genius, but if you evaluate a fish by its ability to climb a tree, the fish will live its whole life believing it is stupid. So the fish has this great ability to swim, but the fish has no ability to climb a tree. And a lot of times we evaluate ourselves like that. We know we can swim well, but we so focused on climbing this tree because somebody else did it, and we lose our authenticity because we're trying to become like somebody else. So be authentic in your leadership. People would rather follow a leader that's always real than follow a leader that's always right. So that is intrapersonal intelligence, understanding yourself, understanding your emotions, and growing yourself. Now we're going to go to 5 areas of interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence is how you relate to others, understanding others' emotions. And if you have good interpersonal intelligence, you will realize as a leader, you cannot treat all of your followers the same. And you don't just treat them based on you also consider who they are, and you treat them based on who they are. Because everybody doesn't learn the same, everybody doesn't grow the same, and everybody doesn't flourish the same. So you have to know based on the different personalities that people have, and who they authentically are. I think one of the people that's best in this for me in my life, one of my leaders, Pastor Andre Lombard, is in Pretoria, and I actually want him to come speak on one of our channels very, very soon. And I want him to speak on leadership. But this is one of the people that I've seen is of the best in this area of understanding other people, knowing how to treat them, and knowing how to lead them. So, interpersonal intelligence. The first one is influence, and we've spoken about influence earlier. And influence is the core of what leadership is all about. So a person who wants to influence other people, it's very, for them, it's very important that those people succeed in life. So I don't have a vision, or let me say this, people with good interpersonal intelligence, I don't love a vision and then I use people to fulfill that vision. No, rather I love people and I use vision to serve the people. That's a person with great interpersonal intelligence, and that's a person with great influence. To say, listen, I really want to use this vision to serve and help the people because I love the people. I don't love the vision, and obviously you should love the vision, but I don't want to love the vision and just use people to get the vision to come to pass, because that's influence. Influences, I want to influence your life so that your life can be better. I want to influence your life so that you can succeed. Number 2, when it comes to interpersonal intelligence, is communication. Communication, first of all, starts with being clear on what you mean. And the one guy said it like this: you don't listen with your ears, you listen through your ears, but you listen with your perception. So if you don't tell people what you mean, they're just going to use their own perception and their own evaluation, and they might misunderstand you wrong. Some of the studies actually found that up to 70% of people misunderstand each other wrong. Because if I say something, I say it from my point of view, you understand it from your point of view. That's why it's very important to explain to people what you mean. So communication, be clear on what you mean and being clear on what you hear. So if somebody speaks to you, and this is a great way in communication to do this, when somebody speaks to you, repeat to them in your own words and in your own way what they said, and ask them, did I understand you correctly? Is this what you meant? And even if you speak to somebody, you can ask the question, what do you understand on what I just articulated to you? And that can bridge a huge communication gap. To make sure I understand what you mean, I don't just hear what you say. Then the next thing, take another sip of coffee, is conflict management. Now, if you are a leader, remember you have people with different personalities, different beliefs, different characters, different opinions in your team. So a lot of times there might be conflict of opinion, conflict of interest, conflict of, There shouldn't be a conflict of vision. That's a very important thing. We should all have the same vision. But in the mission, the way the means that we use to get to the vision, or the way we get to the vision, people have different talents, different skills, different gifts, different opinions. Meaning there won't be there will be conflict, and thinking there won't be conflict is not a healthy way to think as a leader. So conflict management is very important. So it starts with empathy. Empathy means I really care for people. It doesn't just mean when you are sad, I'm there for you. Empathy means when you go through a bad time, I feel as you. When you go through a good time, I'm excited as you. Like, it's empathy is that thing that says, like, I really, really, really care for you. Not just do I care about your part in my company, not just do I care for your part in my vision, I really, really, really care for you. One of my mentors in business, it's a guy called Henk Kearney. And he once said that he employs people to keep them employed, meaning I want to develop them. I want them to be happy here, and I want them to grow. And for me, that was a very important thing. It's like that thing of empathy. Like, if you succeed, I'm glad with you. And the thing that's also very important when it comes to conflict management is understanding different people. So you have different personalities, you have different ways of doing things. And when you bring in the interpersonal intelligence, again, as a leader, make time to get to know people, get to know their gifts, get to know their personalities. And again, don't treat everybody the same, because in conflict management, you will understand it much better, and you will understand much better how to handle it if you understand different personalities, if you understand different gifts, and if you can counsel and help people through that. And then the fourth one is be a change specialist, because sometimes things will change, and it might not even change like because you decided it will change. Let's just look at COVID for instance. Nobody planned this, and this was like a thing where they said, okay, within the next few days we are shutting everything down. And there were people who were change specialists. They were even doing greater in their business because of the change, because they were change specialists. And that's just one of the examples that I can use. But a lot of things might happen that you didn't plan. And that is where adaptability comes in. And I believe like a great leader has great adaptability. And I know that's something I have to grow in, to be very honest. I love it when things happen exactly as planned. If things don't happen exactly as planned, I don't think anybody likes it. But for me, it sometimes freaks me out more than other people. But adaptability is saying, okay, this happened. We didn't know it was going to happen. We didn't plan it, but I know how to manage and lead the team in the right direction. And then also initiating change. So this is not the change that you didn't expect. This is the change that you initiate. So when do we initiate change? First of all, we have to understand what worked yesterday is not necessarily going to work today. They interviewed an ice hockey player once. Ed Milet interviewed this ice hockey player, and he asked him this question: how did you become one of the greatest hockey players in the world, ice hockey players in the world? Now, the ice hockey players has this thing they call a puck. And that's basically it's not the ball, but you can metaphorically say that's the ball that they play with. And he said this. He said, I don't go to where the puck is. I anticipate where it's going to be, and I go to the place where it's going to be. So not only do I look at where things are, but I try to find out where they are going to be, and I initiate change based on where things are going and not just where things are at the moment. And then the final thing is understand the authenticity of others. Remember, the final thing at the intrapersonal intelligence was understanding your own authenticity. Now with the interpersonal intelligence, understanding the authenticity of others. Realize that people are different. Again, people have different gifts, people have different personalities, people have different ways of doing things. Now, you should never change your vision unless there's like something that happens that causes you have to change it. But we don't want to change our vision. We have our vision, we have our purpose. We know where we are going, and we decide how we're going to get there. So we don't want to change our vision. But in the vision, we have to realize everybody is not going to use the same gifts, the same personality to get to the vision. So although we don't change the vision, sometimes we change the ways we get to the vision. And therefore it's very important to understand the authenticity of different people, not just what they can do, but how they can do it and their personalities. That will help us to put people at the right place at the right time for the right reason. But if we're just saying, like, this is how I am doing things, one of the things that I hate the most, and I don't know who I will offend by saying this, one of the things that I hate the most is the words "because I said so." Do it because I said so. I really don't believe that's great leadership. My opinion, I don't believe that's great leadership, because I think it's good to explain to somebody, this is why I want it done this way, because this is how it's going to help us. And remember, if people ask why, if people ask questions, if people under your leadership asks questions, that doesn't mean they're rebelling against you, well, necessarily. That doesn't mean they're against the vision necessarily. They just want to understand, because I'm a person that asks why a lot. Like, I agree, we're going there, I'm going with behind this, but I want to know. I want information. I'm an information being. So, don't see it as a bad thing if people asks you why. And I believe the because I said so leader is not a person that uses their emotional intelligence. I'm not saying they don't have emotional intelligence, because this is not an emotional intelligence evaluation session. I'm not saying they don't have emotional intelligence. I am saying they can use their emotional intelligence better, and they can use their communication better, because people are different, and a great leader understands the difference between people. Okay, so that is the lesson and the session for today. I hope it helped you guys. Remember, if you want to know more about Mind Prosperity and what we do in businesses and what we do with individuals and so on, please contact us. We believe it will be of a great help. Thank you so much for watching. It was so great to have you guys on. If you're not watching live, if you're watching at any other time, thank you for being with us. Thank you, Ansa. I appreciate it. Okay, see you guys soon again. And remember, we have a lot of other videos on our channel that you guys can check out. I recently had an interview with. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate it. I recently had an interview with Jacques Combolt, actor, on how to turn pain into power. That was like really so amazing. So I want to encourage you guys to go check that out. Okay, so from Mind Prosperity, like I always say, we really love you, we really care for you, and we want to see the best in your life. See you guys soon again. Goodbye.